Hey everyone, and welcome to my first coding challenge. Hope you guys are excited. Today we are going to be building a rock, paper, scissors game, alright? And just like we did in class, we're going to go ahead and deconstruct what's going to be required to build this app. So obviously if you played rock, paper, scissors before, you know it's usually played against two people, and there's just a couple simple rules. Rock beats scissors, paper covers rock, and scissors cuts paper. So when we go about creating this app, what will be the first step? Well, first we have to go ahead and have the computer randomly select a move. So they either have to select rock, paper, or scissors, right? Then we're going to gather the player's move, what we play, whoever's using our app. Again, that will whether it's rock, paper, scissors, and then we're gonna have to test against each other, and also obviously the rules, right? So if it's a tie, we'll have to test against that. If computer plays a scissors and we play paper, then we lose. We have to write that out. We have to write the code out for that test cases, and also we just want to keep looping through the app so that the player can continue without having to rerun it constantly. In this app, we're going to get into a couple things, mainly lists. We may or may not have covered this depending on what class you're in, so this may be new to you. And also we're going to be doing a little bit of error handling, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in here. We're going to be using the same website that we used in class, and I will have a link to the website in the description with probably the list and a couple of things already filled out just to get you guys started. Alright, so as we said, we have to have the computer randomly select a move. To do that, they're going to obviously have to select, they're going to have to know what the moves are. So we're going to create a list of moves for them to use. So obviously we know the different moves that they can do. We're going to go ahead and create a variable here. So we're going to do plays, and we're going to do the equal sign. And then a list is created by doing these square brackets. They're the ones right next to the P. Make sure that you do the square ones and not these curly ones, or else it won't work. All right, so a list is initialized with those square brackets. And we're just going to go ahead and write out those moves as strings. We're going to do it all lowercase, and you'll see why in a second. So we're going to do rock, and we're going to separate the moves by a comma. So we're going to do rock, comma, paper, comma, and scissors. All right, and there we have our list of possible moves. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to have the computer make a choice. In order to do this, we're going to use that random module that we used in the guessing game. This is going to be very similar to the guessing game. It's just going to be a little bit more complex. We're going to get a little bit more in depth into especially the if-else statements. So there's going to be a lot of those. So we're going to go ahead on the top. We're going to click, we're going to write out import random. All right. And again, we're importing a module there. It's almost like a DLC pack if you play games. It's kind of some added content that we can use and kind of plug right into our code. It's an extra add-on. All right, so the next thing we'll have to do is we'll have to go ahead and have that computer make a choice. So we're going to assign another variable to that choice, and what we're going to do is we're just going to name this variable computer. All right, and we're going to do what it's going to equal is random, referencing this variable, or sorry, this module up here, random dot choice. So it's random dot choice, and then we're feeding it plays. Does that make sense? So what this is saying is we want to make a random choice from this list of plays, which is this variable right here that includes that list. So it's going to randomly choose from one of these three. All right, so now we went ahead and had the computer make a random choice. We can test this out we always like to test our code out before we kind of get very in-depth into the kind of the meat of it there, just to kind of a continuity check to make sure everything's working. So let's go ahead and use the print function. We've used this many times before, and we're going to go ahead and print out this variable computer, and we can go ahead and run it. All right, it selected paper. Let's run it again. Scissors. Okay, so we can see that it's working. It's choosing a random one each time. You see we just had rock 2 times in a row. Perfect. So we know that this random choice is working perfectly. So now we can go on to our next step. We're going to be using a loop, and just like for the guessing game, we're going to go ahead and initialize a variable to start. Just like the guess, we want to do something where it's something that will never be true. So we're gonna do player equals false, and you'll see how we use this in a second. We're gonna go down a couple spaces, and we're gonna do while player is equal to false. Make sure it's a capital false. If it's not, it will not work. So it's a capital false. And then we're going to go ahead and write this code. So while this is equal to false, which it will just kind of continually be equal to false, we're going to loop through this code, and you'll see in a second what I mean. So again, make sure that you're paying attention to these spaces. In this case, it's 2 spaces in. If you're writing with me and you just hit enter from here, it should automatically indent those 2 spaces. But if not, make sure that you do space in, or else you will get a syntax error. So the next thing is we're going to grab the input from the player, basically the choice. We're going to say, we're going to actually use the same one, player, right, referencing that variable above. Player equals input, parentheses, and then we're going to just give out the options. Rock, paper, scissors. Question mark and a space here. So it's going to have them choose. I'm going to click enter. And now we're going to kind of get into the hard part, which is testing out all those rules, right? So we know the rules. Again, rock beats scissors, paper beats rock, and scissors beats paper. So we're going to have to test against all those cases. So the first obvious one to start with is a tie. So how will we do that? All right, we're going to do an if statement. We've used these before. If player equals computer, print tie. All right, and just again to quickly kind of recap what we're doing here, we're referencing this player variable. So saying if what we played is equal to the choice or the play that the computer made, then it's a tie, right? And then we have to go through and we have to make elif statements for the other conditions. So if it's not a tie, well then we're gonna go down and let's say I picked a rock. So let me go ahead and do that. So we're gonna do elif player double equal sign quotation marks rock. We're going to do that lowercase, and I will let you know why here. So we're going to do a little bit of error handling here. So as you can see on my list, I have rock, paper, scissors. It's all lowercase, and we have to make sure these are exact matches. So whatever I play, I have to play rock lowercase. But let's say I entered rock with a capital, or if I entered rock all caps, well that wouldn't match up and it would cause an error in my script. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of error handling, and we're going to actually take this input here and automatically put it to be completely lowercase. So no matter what they input, if it's all caps, just some caps, it's going to be converted to lowercase. Sort of like what we did in the guessing game with converting it to an integer. So we're going to do player, just kind of reassigning this variable, equals player dot lower. So referencing this here, player.lower, and this is a built-in function here that lowers whatever this variable is, whatever the string is. All right. So now that we have that set, we can kind of continue working here. I'm just going to put a space just to make it a little bit easier on the eyes. So we're going to say elif player equals rock, and then we're going to do the, how we're going to do this is we're going to do the losing situation first and then the winning situation. So if computer is equal to paper, print, we're going to lose, so you lose, and we're going to do that concatenation. So we're going to show what the computer and what your play or the player's play was. So we're going to do plus computer plus, and then we're going to do a space inside here, covers, right? Paper covers rock. We're going to do plus player. And we're going to leave a space after and before so that the words are not crunched up. Like we showed you before in the class, if we left no space, it would be all crunched up. All right, so we have our first one, and let's say they win. Okay, so if they play paper, if it's not paper and it's not rock, because we already tested for a tie, well, it must be scissors, and rock crushes scissors. So we're going to do that. So we're going to go back. We're going to do else print you win. We're going to do plus the player's move, plus player quotes smashes space and the computer move. All right. So that is our first block of code here, and we're going to kind of repeat that process for the two other plays being paper and scissors. One thing to note out is these blocks of code. So you have to make sure that this spacing is in line with everything else. So this is going to be your first kind of if and elif statements are going to be 2 spaces in, and then we're going even more into this. So we're going to say, you know, if this condition is met, then we test something even else. So it's going to be 2 more in from there. So it's going to be a total of 4 spaces in from the left. So you have to make sure that those are all correct, or else you get a syntax error, and we'll show that later on when we're all done. So let's go ahead and finish this up. I'm gonna go pretty fast on these next ones, so if you have to pause the video, that's perfectly fine. Also, I just want to let you know we're gonna have a link to get you started, which is just gonna have this kind of first bit here, and then we're gonna have one to the full solution, so my solution, that you can kind of look at and see and reference to yours to see if you made a mistake, where you made it, that sort of stuff. So we're going to do the other conditions. So the next play that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do paper. So let's do elif again, this elif command. Elif player equals paper, colon. And we're going to do if computer equals, what beats paper? Well, scissors beats paper, right? Print you lose. And actually, I forgot to leave a space in between here as well. You need a space in between this, so that's also not crunched up. So you lose, and then computer plus, and it, in this case it cuts, right? Space cuts player. All right, and then we're gonna say else. So if they don't have scissors, they must have a rock. So we're gonna say print you win space plus player plus covers plus computer. So you win, in this case, paper covers the computer, which must be a rock. We're going to do our last one here. We're going to do elif if computer equals or sorry, if player, get myself confused here, if player equals scissors, print, and sorry, actually messed up here. I meant to do it on this line, so sorry. We're going to do the elif, player equals scissors. Then we're going to do that if statement here. I'll actually go back so we get on the right spacing. If you click enter, it will do the spacing correctly, so you don't have to worry about manually doing it. If you click enter right down that, this website automatically puts in that spacing for you, which is very convenient. So we're going to say if computer, okay, let's beat scissors, rock does, equals rock, don't forget our colon, print, you lose, space, plus computer, smashes, space in between these, player, right, I'm going to do else, print, you win, player, I forgot to put a space here, plus player, in this case it's scissors, so if I play scissors, you win, player cuts, right, computer, right, because it must be paper that the computer played. We're going to put in our spaces here, and that is most of it. We're also going to go ahead and do else. So let's say they entered something that wasn't rock, wasn't paper, wasn't scissors, right? We want to say, hey, you entered something wrong. So we're going to do, it's going to go through all of these cases, right? If this, if it's a tie, if it's rock, if it's paper, if it's scissors, if it doesn't match any of that, the last thing that it will do is we're going to just let them know that it wasn't a valid input. So we did not understand. Please check your spelling. Understand your move. Please check your spelling. All right, great. And then lastly, we want to keep on looping through that, right? So again, we just want to keep playing. That's kind of how you go rock, paper, scissors. You just keep playing and playing. You don't want them to have to rerun the application every time they want to do one play. So we're going to just kind of reset this down here. So we're going to do player equals false. Make sure we do that capital. And computer equals random dot choice. We're going to do plays. Alright, so the same thing that we have up here, we're just redoing in this loop so that it will just continue looping. Basically, this loop will never end. It will just continue until you stop the application. So let's go ahead and run it and see what we do. Alright, so I want to go ahead and enter rock. Alright, we tied. Let's enter. I always go rock almost all the time. It's kind of my strategy. Apparently we're tying. Okay, you win. Rock smashes scissors. And it looks like I missed a space here, as you can see that they're smushed together on here. So let's try that again. And let's also test what we did down here where we lowercase. So if I do all caps rock, it should still work, right? I still lost. It will still be able to do those comparisons. So we know that that is working. We do a little bit of error handling. What if I enter something that is not rock? Let's say this. Okay, yeah, great. We do not understand your move. Please check your spelling again. And then it lets us play again. So this is working perfectly. Again, make sure that you are lining these up. You may be able to see kind of these small gray lines here. This is, imagine an invisible line right down here. Okay, right, so we have these statements, and then we have these ones which are kind of indented. These are 4 spaces in. So this is saying if this case is true within this, if this case is also true, this is 6 indents in. So make sure that you get your spacing right. If it's not, let's say I put this and this is 3 spaces in and I try to run it, what will it do? It will come up with an error. Now, this is going to happen. This is going to happen a lot while you're coding. You can look at this error messages, and the biggest thing to take a look at is the line. So on the side here, they have lines. They're all numbered, and it gives you the line of where this error is coming from. So I see this is from line 18, and in this case, this error response is kind of in plain English. It says indentation error, unintended, does not match any outer indentation. It's basically saying, hey, you messed up here. This is not matching of anything else. And also points it out with a red X here. So make sure when you're kind of going through, these errors will happen. Make sure that you're paying attention. Look at that line number. If we go down to 18, then you can say, oh yeah, no, these don't line up with these other things. I gotta space this in, or I have to, do this and have it line up perfectly with these other ones. So if I'm gonna run it again, it looks like I did not line these up again. So again, let's space, and it looks like I lined it up here. You can see it's lined up with this if statement, right? These are on the same invisible line, and now it's back to working. So make sure when you get those errors to check the line, and then kind of see if there's anything off, see if you missed a space, forgot one, that sort of stuff. Again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and the first challenge. If you guys did, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know. I'll love to make more challenges for you guys. I'll love to show you how to do the Minecraft one and do my own tutorial on that. So let me know if you guys are interested, because if you are, I would definitely love to make more videos. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.